this is the funeral, and so, daughter of so and so. So I pray over her. He did perform a prayer for her, and he stopped opposite the middle of her body. Was among as when was among us when he saw the different places that he stood for the male and the female. He said, "O Abu Hamza, is this where the Messenger of Allah would stand as you stand, and for a woman as you stood?" He replied, "Yes." Allah turned to us and said, "You must remember this. The description of the prayer. There are to be 4, 5, and even up to 9 takbirs made in the funeral prayer. Sometimes the Prophet would do it one way, and sometimes he would do it another way. As for 4 takbirs, the Messenger of Allah announced the death of the ruler of Abyssinia on the day that he died. He then went out to the place of prayer and lined the people in rows and made 4 takbirs in the prayer. Regarding 5 takbirs, Abdul Rahman Abu Layla said, "We used to make 4 takbirs in our funeral prayers, and sometimes he would make 5 takbirs. I asked him about this, and he said the Messenger of Allah would make these takbirs. As for 6 or 7 takbirs, such was being narrated in reports coming from the companions. However, they are considered as having their source with the Prophet, because some of the leading companions did that in the presence of our other companions, and none of them objected to it, and made 6 takbirs. Then he turned to us and said, he was from the participants at Badr. Ali prayed over Abu Qatada and made 7 takbirs. He was from the participants at Badr. Ali would make 6 takbirs over those who participated at Badr, 5 over the other companions of the Prophet, and 4 over the rest of the people. The Messenger of Allah prayed over Hamza, saying 9 takbirs. The hands should be raised during the first takbir. The Messenger of Allah would raise his hands in the funeral prayer during the first takbir, and then not repeat doing so. After raising the hands, he would put his right hand over the left hand, wrist and forearm, and put them firmly upon his chest. Sa'al ibn Sa'ad said, the people were ordered to place the right hand on the left forearm while praying. After the opening takbir, he would read Surah Al-Fatiha and another surah of the Quran. I prayed the funeral prayer behind Ibn Abbas. He read Surah Al-Fatiha and another surah. He made it aloud until we could hear him. When he finished the prayer, I took him by his hand and asked him about that. He replied, I did it aloud in order to teach you that it is the sunnah and it is proper. It is to be said, it is to be read silently, as the sunnah is the funeral prayer, is to read out of the first takbir Surah Al-Fatiha silently. Then one makes 3 takbirs and makes the salutations after the last of them. After the second takbir, one states prayers for the Prophet, based on the aforementioned hadith of Abu Umama, in which one of the companions of the Prophet told him, the sunnah in the funeral prayer is for the Imam to make the takbir and then recite Al-Fatiha silently to himself after the first takbir. Then he states prayers for the Prophet. He then makes sincere supplications for the deceased after the third takbir, and he does not recite anything in either of those two. Then he makes a silent salutation to himself